All right. We back again. Aswand Cruickshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, former Division I college football player, and current five-time published author and educator, back for another Trapreneur Wednesday, where we're not just talking entrepreneurship, we're not just talking we're especially not just talking solopreneurship, we're talking intrapreneurship. You're talking the person that's in a big organization but is developing the entrepreneurial mindset, has the entrepreneurial mindset, and understand when you have the entrepreneurial mindset, regardless of what situation you're in, you're going to be thinking about business, you're going to be thinking about innovation, you're going to be thinking about ways in which you can incorporate your brand and create some security for your future. That's what we're talking. These are the people I'm talking to every single day, and every Wednesday, I'm here to give you another tip on how to develop the entrepreneur mindset. Again, a term that I coined because I want you winning. I want you having the entrepreneurial mindset, but I want you having the winner's mindset. All right, because there's a lot of they had a song. I think Ice Cube did a song, "Entrepreneur Niggas." Right, there's a lot of people that have the dream but don't have necessarily the ideas, the tips, and things like that. So I'm coining the phrase "win-trepreneur" back, and we're doing this every single Wednesday because, again, most of the times you guys see me, I'm just finishing up a run and my thoughts are flowing and I'm all over the place. And sometimes I can get a little long-winded or it might be just too much. So what I've decided to do is every Wednesday, come in a nice intimate setting like this, speak to you one-on-one, directly talk to you about some of the tips and the things you could be taking away and applying to your work situation. Because trust me, I've had quite a few work situations that I was not in favor of, but I wouldn't take anything away from every situation I've been in because it built the entrepreneur mindset that I have to this day. All right. So before I even get started on today's tip, I got to tell you, first and foremost, I need you, as soon as you're done watching this video, I need you to go shoot over to makeyourmove.com. That's MAKEYAMOVE.com and get yourself an NIL athlete bundle. It's included with these three books. The first one, The Six-Figure Athlete, Converting Your Skills into Cash. I partnered with 10 other authors. It's great read, especially for athletes that are thinking about what's next, what's going to be coming down the pipeline. If you were like me and you have to accept the fact, look, I'm not good enough to play pro, you got to figure it out. You got to figure out exactly what you're going to be doing once your playing career is ending. This is the book for you, The Six-Figure Athlete. All right. Second one, make your move. Make your move. Now, this is for my up and coming athletes, the middle school, high school people athletes that don't necessarily have the opportunity to or have a trainer or in a situation where they have a lot of resources. I make the bold claim in this book in which that is boxing and dance are going to be the best things for you to do to develop as an athlete. When I interviewed professional boxers, I myself used to be a boxing trainer, still am able to train kids in boxing. I still do it here and there with certain athletes, but this book is where I documented all that kind of stuff. And I do get into a little bit of my memoir and things like that. So that also comes in the bundle. And then my latest book, Transferring D1, probably the most relevant to the times we're living in with NIL, with the transfer portal and the college athletics world being in such a mess. Make sure you get Transferring D1, a practical guide on the chaotic world of college athletics. Believe if you go on Amazon right now and you type in college guides on college athletics, I do believe that this is going to be the #1 book that pops up. So just go to makeyourmove.com. You get the NIL bundle. You get all three of these for a small fee of $65. But again, the value of it is, there's really no price limit on how much value you're going to get when it comes to how you can apply these stories. Now, this isn't just me talking. Like I said, I interviewed other people and there were other co-authors. Several of those co-authors have actually been on this very podcast that you may or may not be listening to. My podcast, which is named the Move Swiftly podcast, which eventually this recording will make its way on that podcast as well. It is the #1 show on innovative teamwork named the Move Swiftly Podcast. All right, Move Swiftly Podcast. Excuse me. Now, with all that out the way, let's get into today's Wintrapreneur tip. All right, I'm going to be using an example from a very, very great mentor that I had when I was 19 years old. All right, this guy's name was Bubakar. Bubakar, and he and I connected because our names were so unique. And Bubakar was kind of that first person who indirectly told me that, look, Aswan, you're gonna have to develop a life in sales. All right, because again, your name, the minute you introduce yourself to people, your name is you're already going to be in the selling process, because whether you're trying to sell a significant other, which I sell people a product, which I sell people a service, sales is going to be where it's at. And sales is at the core of wintrapreneurship. All right. Sales is at the core. If you can develop as a seller, you can develop as a public speaker and a seller, you will never, ever have a difficult time finding a job. All right. Let me give you an example. Like I said, I was 19 years old. I had just torn my ACL at my freshman year of college, and I had to move back home and work at a gym. And the name of this gym was Washington Sports Club. And the gym's no longer in business, but I learned a lot of lessons in that, and I'll get into that probably in a later video. But the way the gym was structured is I was working front desk, and then there was a membership consultant who was responsible for selling gym memberships. His livelihood, or their livelihood, I should say, was based on how many memberships they can sell, a given day, a given week, a given month. That's how they made their livelihood. Then you had the trainers who would try to sell packages, and you had people managing the sales team, and you had people managing the training team. And I was part of the welcome team that would, we would work, we get a little bit of everything. Like I said, 19 years old, and I just tore my ACL. It was my first year not playing football, and I'm like, reality is hitting me, and I'm like, look, I'm gonna have to figure it out at some point sooner than later. My playing career is going to come to an end. And again, this is why I have the books I showed you, why I have the knowledge in my head that I showed you. I can speak from firsthand knowledge when it comes to this stuff, right? Is make sure you have a plan. Make sure you have something that you really develop in, and understanding how you can be passionate about it. And again, I was in that place where I was lost when it comes to that. But my man Bubakar helped shine a light. It helped shine a light in terms of what it is I'm going to be doing, how well I'm going to be doing it, and what's going to be the elements and the needs that I will have to obtain if I want to do this specific thing, if I want to be just successful, period. All right. So let me just get into the story. It was about 3 or 4 months during, while I was working at Washington Sports Club. And it was like after work one day, and apparently I think so actually what sparked the conversation was Bubakar, I think, had a huge fight with one of the trainers. It was the lady who used to manage the trainers. They went at it. Like they went at it was apparently it was a shouting match. I wasn't there for it, but it was a shouting match, and he walked out. There was a lot of tension. There was a lot of tension between Bubakar and the lady. Her name was Janet, who used to manage all the trainers. And they apparently, whatever happened got said, and he went at it, and they started going back and forth or whatever it is. But anyway, he just came out the meeting needing to get a lot of shit off his chest. He really was upset, and he needed to get it off his chest. And luckily, as the front desk guy, I get to hear about all the gossip, all the drama, all the problems going on within the whole fitness facility, right? So what happened was he looked at me and he said, the average time a person spends doing what I do as a seller of gym memberships, which is a very difficult sell, by the way, because 99% of the world doesn't work out and shit, right? He says, how long they last. And I asked him, I don't know what the turnover ratio was. I didn't even know what that kind of stuff was at 19, right? And he looked at me, he goes, they last for maybe 6 months. You know how long I've been doing this? And then again, this is him talking to me. He tells me, you know how long I've been doing this? He goes, 5 years. 5 years. I've exceeded what's expected of me in this position. And it's because I know how to generate my business even when I'm not in the gym. And this is actually where I want to get you in regards to today's Wintrapreneur tip, is that he would always tell me, always, no matter what, he would always tell me, everybody in the club, everybody in this entire facility affects what I do. Every single person affects what I do. Let me give you a few examples. All right. When it comes to selling a gym membership, what Boubacar would have to do. The people would walk in, they're interested in doing this, they're interested in doing that. They would walk in and I would hand them a brief questionnaire, whatever, just to get their information. And he'd have to sit them down and then give them a tour of the facility. All right. When he gave that tour was the opportunity for him to sell the gym. All right. So the cleaning crew, if the cleaning crew wasn't on their P's and Q's and keeping the treadmills clean and keeping the workout facilities clean and keeping the bathrooms, the locker rooms, showers, all that kind of stuff. If it wasn't top notch, on point cleaning, if it wasn't, the trainers were like kind of slacking off and just sort of putting people through whatever type of workouts, if things weren't running, if the machines weren't working, all the stuff, if the towels wasn't flowing, and that gym part in particular, we had a free towel service that we offered them. All of that stuff. If things weren't moving the way they need to be moving, he would lose the sale. So he would always tell me every single time he walks into the facility, he walks around and just gives himself a tour and sees how everything is moving. This is not the person who runs the company. Understand, he's the person selling the facility, but he's taking it as if it is his business because his livelihood, he would tell me this all the time, is I got to eat based on how many memberships I sell. All right. And here's another example. I'll give you an example of when things aren't being done the right way because this particular gym had a pool. And one of the huge selling points to this gym was the fact that they had a pool. In fact, there were people that would come in just to swim and not even work out. They'd just come in, hit the pool and roll out. It was a great add-on to the facility, especially person in my situation. I was rehabbing a torn ACL. So I'd get an opportunity to get in there, do some rehabbing of my knee and get my knee right and all that kind of stuff. And the only issue with the pool is that we had to have a lifeguard at the pool when when for people to actually use it. So you have people who were regularly coming in and they loved the pool, and then they had some situations in which the lifeguard didn't actually show up. And there was actually one situation where the lifeguard he showed up and he would be sleeping on the shift, like he's sleeping while people are swimming. And, then he didn't show up one day and all hell broke loose and people are upset. And, he can't sell the pool, the people can't sell the gym. And you see how everything just throws everything off. So understand, and the reason that I'm breaking all this down for you is because no matter what position you have, if you focus in and you lock in and you say, where is there an opportunity for me to sell? All right, first of all, where's the opportunity for me to sell and can I make the sell? Then you start to develop this mindset in which you are like the Boubacar who's working a position. Again, somebody that you probably would never know if I didn't bring him up. If he was working this position that is a high turnover rate, but you're able to last over the span of decades. And then he told me he worked that for 5 years when I was just a college sophomore. I remember meeting up with him after I graduated, like three years later, and he was still working in the same position. And for all I know, he's probably still selling, gym memberships because he nailed down his system. And even though that gym is out of business that we previously worked at, it doesn't really matter because he's able to go into other facilities. In fact, then now that I'm thinking about it, he did. He left Washington Sports Club, went to Sport and Health, and then came back to Washington Sports Club, all with the same mentality. If you develop this mindset, and if you not only develop this mindset, but if you as a business owner look for gems and you train people up with this mindset, you will never have a difficult time with turnover. You'll never have a difficult time keeping your team hungry, motivated. And that's what you should want. That's the kind of environment that you need to be looking to create within your organization because you get a lot of hungry Boubacars that are going to go out there and generate business for themselves and create business opportunities for themselves, as opposed to bringing in people that have some fancy degree somewhere and they're expecting a certain amount of they're coming in with an expectation that they deserve a certain amount of salary, a certain salary because they have this degree, but they haven't actually went out and sold and, generated leads and called leads and got people in and got rejected and then called again and then convinced people. They have no actual skill. They just have a piece of paper. You want the people that are going to go out and grind and treat the company as if it's theirs and learn ways and create ways in which they can generate business on their own. All right. So that's what you got to keep in mind when you're evaluating your staff or when you are actually doing a self-evaluation and asking yourself how valuable you actually are to the company. All right. All that being said, looking forward to seeing you guys next week for another Wintrapreneur tip. It's been ever since I've started these, I've just loved them and loved them and loved them because I have so many stories I can be telling, so many things. But like I said, we're gonna be breaking them down week by week every Wednesday, and Again, before I let you go, remind you, don't forget, make your move, MakeYamove.com. Get your NIL bundle. Get your NIL bundle. It's available, especially these times with college athletics being what they are. You're going to need that bundle. It's going to be very, very important that you have that knowledge in your head so you're able to navigate where it is you want to go next. Everyone out there, fellow team, actually, let me give you the website one more time. It's MakeYamove.com. Everyone out there, fellow teammates, continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon. See you next week, guys.